Greetings from Boston. Welcome to Tennis Talk Daily, and I want to let you know that I, in light of recent events, recent excursions with certain props, have recommitted myself to giving you the most serious, no-nonsense tennis talk that you can find anywhere online or on YouTube. And I want to give you, so I've put on this tie. I've got my cufflinks, you know, this is serious stuff. What? Oh, I'm sorry, my wife just told me I sleep in that wig, so I forgot to take it off. Please forgive me. I am recommitted to giving you the most serious, no-nonsense tennis talk that you can find anywhere. And I've put this tie on, I put the shirt on, again, my cufflinks, and you can see we've relegated this strange thing that I was playing with to the background. Of course, this wig, this strange thing, I mean, it has been in the closet for a while. It does have a little mold in it, possibly, and so it's possible it could sort of grow legs and sort of crawl over and get onto my head, and we hope that doesn't happen, of course. Welcome to Tennis Talk Daily. Thank you for your viewership. Subscribe to the channel to get the essential, serious, no-nonsense tennis talk. And give the video a thumbs up if you like what you see in here. We have a couple things to talk about today, and I want to break up my commentary into two episodes probably. This first one is going to address, in terms of the match play, the upcoming Federer versus Chung match, and the next one will look at a broader view and look more at Del Potro, but particularly his match yesterday and his match that's going to be coming up tomorrow. But first, I wanted to address, again, one of these serious thematic points that we're doing with respect to the homogenization of play. And I've been noting that Roger can be the player that influences the game to become more, to have more heterogeneity, to use that word again, more variety in the players, different styles coming together and battling it out. I've talked about how Roger can influence that, but the point I wanted to make today is that Roger also participated in the homogenization of the game that we see today. Now, Roger was on both sides of this transition. Remember in 2001 at Wimbledon against Pete Sampras, where Roger Federer beat the greatest serve and volleyer in the history of the game, arguably, by serving and volleying. That was a serve and volley match for Federer. He was a serve and volleyer. I think he did it about 109 times in that match. Of course, that changed, and Roger participated in the change. They slowed the courts down, and his play did change quite a bit. In the subsequent Wimbledons, he does not serve and volley so much. So it's really an interesting way to see that dramatic change in the style of play. But Roger also has participated in homogenization in an interesting way and he's continuing the homogenization in an interesting way because he is a dangerous player to approach the net on. And I was watching the Chardy match and I was thinking, yes, that's part of the problem. The young players can't break through Federer because they don't want to approach the net on Federer. It's a very dangerous thing. So ironically, although Roger brings this heterogeneity to the game and is starting to have some influence, he's also simultaneously prohibiting that heterogeneity from fully blooming in the younger generation by making it so hard to approach and play the net against Roger Federer in particular. I thought, give a few comments on that. It's an important point. It's a little bit of a paradox with him, but it kind of helps explain what's going on. So let's talk about Chung versus Federer. Of course, this is a rematch from the Australian Open, where Chung had to retire from the match based on blisters. Roger was doing quite a job, quite a day at the office so far in that match at the time that Chung retired, and obviously Federer was looking on path to prevail. But the question is, can Chung redeem? what's been going on with Chung? Well, he looks, by the scores, looks like he's had a pretty clean path. But, on closer inspection, Thomas Berdych was really not in full form the other day. And in the match with Cuevas yesterday, there were some cracks beginning to appear in Chung's play. I actually tuned out of the match at 5-love in the second set, 5-0 in the second set, when Chung was already ahead a set. I thought, this is over. He's just going to devastate this poor Cuevas guy. Well, then Chung sort of fell apart, and Cuevas broke him twice, I believe, and it took like 8 or 9 match points for Chung to close the thing out. The situational pressures became too much for him to handle, quite possibly. And there might also be this element of not wanting to embarrass Cuevas. That's the more favorable reading of it, that Chung got a little nervous. There are these Asian mores, as it were, social standards. You could be, any Asian people in the audience can comment on this. There's this concept of face, and you don't want to you want to let people save face, essentially. And so when it looked like he was going to bagel this guy, maybe those interesting social norms began to interfere with Chung's mental game. Of course, he's known as the professor, so he does have a very strong mental game, but at some of the key points, he is breaking, and there are cracks in Chung that are appearing. Now, with that said, he's going to be a serious contender for Federer. Federer is taking him very seriously, I think. So Federer, of course, needs to concentrate on a few things. His level of play in these last couple of matches has been sky high. He is doing a fantastic bang-up job, a professional, methodical job at this tournament, and I have a lot of confidence in Federer coming into this Chung match. Federer needs to, of course, continue to protect his serve. He's been serving very well, won 100% of his first serve points in yesterday's match. He also needs, I think, to take Chung into some longer rallies. Chung actually starts to break down a little bit in the longer rallies and was losing quite a few of those in the match with Cuevas. So, particularly on Chung's serve, when Chung is serving, if Roger can get him into longer rallies and play the role of the sort of wall, can just put up the Federer wall, and Federer does have a virtually impenetrable wall. There's no wall in tennis that's at least man-made in the personified in a player that is totally impenetrable, but Roger does have a very solid wall, and he can just wall Chung to some extent on Chung's serve. That'll be tiring. So on Roger's own serve, he's going to need to take a different approach and end those points a little quicker. Roger will need to pay special attention to Chung's second serve, which is very effective for Chung. And he was winning a lot of those second serve points, particularly in that first set against Cuevas. Now, Cuevas, granted, was not playing very well and was kind of upset, sort of broke down mentally at a couple of points. But nevertheless, Chung was doing some great serving on the second try. And Federer, I love to see the sabers, and with the younger players in particular, I think these surprise attacks behind second serves could be particularly effective. I think it might interfere with Chung's kind of balance and footwork a little bit out there on the court. So he might try a couple surprise attacks behind those second serves, but in any case, he's going to need to pay close attention to those seconds and to probably engage in more of an offensive style of game around those second serves. And then finally, the net points, the net play. Chung is not a great net player. Again, he brings that Djokovic style to the game. It's a great match because it's kind of the showdown between the Federer style and the Djokovic style. The spirit of Djokovic lives on, folks. The spirit of Djokovic lives on in the desert, in the body of the young Chung. Well, Federer knows how to deal with this problem, I think. And Federer is much better at the net with the approaches than Chung is. And if Federer, I've said this a number of times with a few other players, but if Federer can bring Chung to the net on Federer's own terms, then Chung is vulnerable, Chung is exposed, and Federer will be able to pass in more instances than not. And really just getting Chung to the net could be an interesting strategy for Federer, and of course framing his own approaches quite well too. But again, his net play, Federer's net play is looking fantastic in the desert this week. He won all of his net points in his match yesterday against Chardy. So Federer is in such fine form. He's flying so high. Chung is going to need to turn out something like 100% and not crack in order to give Federer a hard time today. But it's a match that we are highly anticipating. I predict, of course, Roger Federer. I would never put my money against Roger Federer. I would never put my money on Chung here. It's just not the way the evidence kind of works out. It's not what the evidence predicts. Federer is playing in a very high level. He is flying high. He is at a high cruising altitude. But this is a showdown between the two styles, between the Djokovic style, the aggressive baseline play, and the Federer heterogeneity. So I think Federer will emerge triumphant, but I'm going to be watching the match closely. Let my final point be that I'm doing tweeting these matches, and go on to Twitter and find me at Tennis Talk Daily. Follow the Twitter page and the Twitter feed. I will be doing commentary on all of these matches, and in fact if you want a record of some of the past matches, those are tweeted as well and documented up there. But come on over to Twitter. We can have a fun time over there doing some commentary, because I'm watching the match. I got my son yelling in my ear, my wife asking me to do something, watching the matches. It's a lot of fun doing the commentary, doing a few tweets. I'd love to see you guys on there. So look forward to it. Again, I'm going to try to do something this afternoon, talk more about Del Potro. I know a few commenters were noting Del Potro, and I want to talk about a few more of the matchups and maybe even a few more things on Federer. Let me know if you have any questions you want me to talk about, because again, this is in real time, and I'll be back this afternoon. Most likely, if I can do this, which I'm pretty sure I can. Be well. Talk to you soon. Bye.